Cesar Millan, once hailed as a legendary figure in the world of dog training for his miraculous ability to calm even the most unruly dogs, has now found himself behind bars as a convicted criminal. The entire world was left stunned by the news that he had been sentenced to life in prison. A devastating blow not only to the animal-loving community, but also to the millions of fans who admired him. How could a man once respected and admired across the globe fall into such a heartbreaking downfall, as his highly controversial training methods came under intense scrutiny? Many began to question, was he truly the savior of troubled dogs, or merely a manipulator hiding behind a facade of morality, using carefully crafted tactics for personal gain? And now, with a life sentence ahead of him, how will Cesar go on? Knowing he can no longer be by the side of the four-legged companions, he dedicated his life to helping and protecting. Let's dive deep into the trial that shocked the public and explore the final words of defense Cesar Millan delivered in court. 1. Cesar Millan, the monster behind the screen. I used to blame myself, and then a wave of sadness hit me when I realized that people could treat others like that. And then my heart felt shattered. I didn't feel worthy of being loved by millions of people around the world. These painfully honest and raw words reveal a deeply hidden part of Cesar Milan's soul. The man known worldwide for his warm smile and extraordinary talent in taming even the most aggressive dogs. The image of the dog whisperer became etched in the memories of millions who followed his show on National Geographic for nearly a decade, turning him into an iconic figure in the world of pet training. Yet behind the calm, confident presence of a model leader was a man fighting fierce internal battles of his own. To truly understand the darkest chapter in Cesar Millan's life, we need to turn back the clock and explore the remarkable journey that took a poor boy from a remote rural area of Mexico and transformed him into a global symbol. Cesar Millan, affectionately known across the world as the Dog Whisperer, was born on August 13, 1974, in Culiacan, Sinaloa, Mexico. From a young age, he shared a special bond with dogs beginning at just 11 years old, when he first had the chance to care for and train them. Fueled by a big dream, Cesar made the bold decision to move to the United States in 1990, when he had just turned 21. His early days in Los Angeles were incredibly tough. He took on any work he could find, from grooming dogs to walking them, gathering experience, and slowly developing his own unique training method, grounded in a deep understanding of canine body language and natural instincts. Without knowing a word of English and with no family by his side, Cesar spent an entire month sleeping on the streets before landing jobs, taking care of dogs, and washing cars to survive. A life-changing encounter with Jada Pinkett Smith. The owner of one of the dogs he had looked after opened the first door to public recognition. Impressed by his determination and natural gift, Jada hired a private English tutor for Cesar and supported his learning for a full year. With all the money he had saved, he bravely opened his first dog psychology center in Los Angeles, and soon word spread about a man with an extraordinary talent. After a New York Times article featured his story, National Geographic Channel officially invited him to create the show Dog Whisperer. Cesar Milan's career truly skyrocketed following the debut of his television show Dog Whisperer with Cesar Milan in 2004. Each episode showcased his remarkable ability to enter chaotic households where aggressive or uncontrollable dogs had left their owners feeling helpless, and with an almost supernatural calmness transform these animals' behaviors. Viewers were captivated not only by his adept skills, but also by the profound message he conveyed to change a dog's behavior. One must first change oneself. The show quickly became a global sensation, running for 8 seasons and catapulting Cesar Millan to international fame. His reputation was further solidified through best-selling books like Cesar's Way and How to Raise the Perfect Dog, where he shared his training experiences and inspiring life philosophies. Cesar emerged not just as a dog trainer, but as a symbol of patience, empathy, and the power to offer second chances to both humans and their canine companions. Over more than 2 decades, Cesar Milan built an expansive media empire, centered around his unique personal approach to dog training, grounded in the concept of calm, assertive energy. His method, emphasizing the establishment of balance between humans and dogs, resonated deeply with millions of pet owners struggling with difficult dogs. His seemingly extraordinary ability to connect with troubled dogs and transform them from aggressive, unmanageable animals into obedient and affectionate companions left audiences worldwide in awe. Initially, viewers were drawn to Cesar's talent for restoring balance in dogs. However, they soon discovered that the most profound transformations occurred within the dog owners themselves. Cesar guided his clients to recognize that deep-seated psychological issues within them directly impacted their pets. An aggressive dog often mirrored its owner's inner weaknesses. By helping owners regain confidence and composure, their dogs naturally became calmer, more obedient, and cooperative. This process further showcased Cesar's exceptional abilities to the audience. Beyond television, Cesar expanded his influence through best-selling books, specialized seminars, and various media products, establishing himself as a leading expert in animal behavior. He won the hearts of hundreds of clients and millions of viewers worldwide, including notable celebrities like television icon Oprah Winfrey, multifaceted artist Jada Pinkett Smith, Grammy-winning singer Patti LaBelle, and many other prominent figures. Cesar's fame rapidly spread through the National Geographic Channel. In his reality show, he directly engaged with dog owners facing challenges with uncontrollable pets, some of which were deemed dangerous due to past attacks on other dogs or threats to human safety. However, does the on-screen portrayal of Cesar Milan accurately reflect his real-life persona? When one looks beyond the glamour of television and examines more closely, it becomes apparent that Cesar may not be a genuine dog training expert. While his performances might impress many viewers with their seemingly miraculous outcomes, his approach to handling dogs is often forceful and at times violent. Numerous videos depict him being bitten by dogs, a consequence of his lack of understanding or mishandling of canine behavior. This raises significant questions about his foundation in animal behavior science and proper training techniques. One contentious aspect of Cesar's methods is his frequent practice of placing dogs in stressful and dangerous situations to correct their behavior. These scenes, while dramatic for viewers, have raised concerns as they show him forcing dogs to confront challenges without adequate psychological preparation. Such actions do not aid in behavior improvement, but instead exacerbate fear and instability in the animals, seemingly serving the show's entertainment value rather than the well-being of the pets. Regrettably, once the cameras stop rolling, the dog's behaviors often do not improve and may even deteriorate. The fear and pressure induced by Cesar's methods can lead to increased aggression or loss of control in these animals. Modern training techniques emphasize patience, love, and a thorough understanding of animal behavior qualities that Cesar's rigid methods appear to lack. Ultimately, these practices have led to consequences for him. In the subsequent chapter of his story, a perfect storm began to brew. At the pinnacle of his fame, Cesar Milan faced a series of personal and professional crises: a painful divorce, betrayals by trusted business partners, and legal proceedings over allegations of animal abuse. These challenges converged simultaneously, threatening to dismantle everything he had painstakingly built. Behind the façade of success and the familiar smile on television, Cesar's life was rapidly unraveling, plunging him into the darkest period of his existence. 2. Shocking tragedies and scandal. I truly felt heartbroken witnessing him being treated this way after all the good he had done. These were the words of an attendee at the trial involving Cesar Milan. Despite achieving numerous resounding successes, Cesar Milan's life later became fraught with turmoil. In 2010, when he was at the pinnacle of his career with global fame, financial stability, and a happy home with his then-wife, Ilusion Milan, everything began to unravel. The unexpected divorce from Ilusion, who had been by his side for 16 years, not only devastated him emotionally, but also triggered a series of cascading events. Betrayals from business associates, ongoing lawsuits, and the pressure to maintain a flawless public image culminated in a storm that destroyed everything he had built. When everything collapsed, I no longer knew who I was, Cesar once confided. He fell into a deep depression, even contemplating giving up everything, not just his career, but his life. Yet the most controversial part was still to come. He began to be exposed through various televised incidents leading to a series of unending court trials. Once praised for his ideal career and deep love for dogs, Cesar Milan faced a wave of criticism due to his controversial training methods, particularly his application of dominance theory. Many animal rights groups and veterinarians voiced opposition, arguing that this approach, emphasizing leadership through techniques like leash pulling, could cause stress or fear in dogs and was not based on modern scientific understanding of canine behavior. Cesar Millan had to appear in court for 3 high-profile animal abuse allegations. One of the most notable cases was the death of a dog named Baby in 2007. Baby's owner accused Cesar of causing the death during a training session. Baby's owner loved her dog more than anything else in the world. The small French bulldog with big round eyes and a playful personality had filled her life with joy and unconditional love since she adopted him from a rescue center 3 years prior. However, recently, Baby began exhibiting signs of anxiety and excessive barking, especially when strangers approached. In an effort to find a solution, Sarah placed her trust in someone she believed to be the top expert, Cesar Milan. In 2007, Cesar Millan was at the height of his fame with the television show Dog Whisperer. Sarah had watched every episode, captivated by his seemingly magical ability to whisper to troubled dogs. She firmly believed that only Cesar could help Baby overcome his fears and return to being the happy dog she once knew. With high hopes, she contacted his training center to schedule a private session. The training session took place in a spacious outdoor area at Cesar Milan's center. Sarah felt a bit anxious as she watched him approach Baby. He didn't display gentleness or affection. Instead, he exuded a confidence and authority that Sarah had never seen in any other dog trainer before. As the session began, Cesar asked Sarah to step back while he took Baby for a walk alone. Sarah observed with a mix of curiosity and unease as Cesar employed techniques she had seen on TV. The tst sounds, sharp leash jerks, and decisive body movements. Initially, Baby seemed slightly confused, but soon his anxiety became more apparent. The small dog tried to back away, his eyes wide with fear as Cesar continued to apply pressure. Sarah felt a growing discomfort, but reassured herself that Cesar was a professional and knew what he was doing. However, as the session progressed, Baby began to pant heavily and appeared increasingly distressed. In one particular exercise, Cesar attempted to force Baby to confront a stranger standing a few meters away. Baby reacted by barking intensely and trying to retreat, but Cesar held the leash firmly, preventing him from moving away. After several rigorous exercises, Baby collapsed. Sarah panicked, rushed over, calling out her dog's name. Cesar also quickly came to assist, but it was too late. Sarah's small French bulldog lay motionless, no longer breathing. Sarah was utterly devastated. Tears streamed down her face as she cradled Baby's limp body in her arms. She was overwhelmed with grief and anger. She had trusted Cesar Milan, believing he would help her dog, but instead, she believed his harsh training methods had led to Baby's death. To this day, Sarah maintains that Cesar Milan should be held responsible for Baby's demise. Similarly, the case involving a dog named Layla in 2010 also sparked controversy when the animal died from a seizure during filming. Layla's owners, a married couple, initially questioned Milan's training methods, but a medical examination determined the cause of death was epilepsy, an underlying health issue unrelated to Cesar's actions, as reported by People magazine. Nevertheless, these incidents continued to raise public concerns about the safety of his training techniques, especially when applied to dogs with health problems. By 2014, a video from Cesar Milan's show Dog Whisperer with Cesar Milan unexpectedly went viral on social media, igniting public outrage. The clip showed Cesar performing the alpha roll technique on a German shepherd named Daddy, leading to accusations of animal abuse. The footage depicted Milan pinning Daddy onto his back to assert dominance, while the dog appeared visibly frightened and struggled to break free. Many viewers and animal rights organizations, including the American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior, condemned the action as violent, arguing that it could cause panic and psychological harm to dogs, and was inconsistent with the latest research on animal behavior. Meanwhile, Milan defended himself by arguing that Daddy was an aggressive dog with a history of attacking both people and animals, and that the alpha roll technique was necessary to help him control its behavior and ensure the safety of both the dog and those around it. He emphasized that this method was based on real-world experience, helping to establish leadership and leading to improvements in Daddy's behavior, allowing the dog to later live harmoniously with the family. In a 2015 X post, Millan shared, "I always put the health and happiness of the dog first," demonstrating his commitment to his training work. Some experts agreed, stating that for dangerous dogs, this method is sometimes necessary, although the debate over this issue continues. The controversial video led to a strong wave of opposition, with many calling for a boycott of Millan's show and demanding that he take responsibility. However, no legal actions were taken, and the investigation did not conclude that Milan violated animal protection laws, as confirmed by the Los Angeles Times. Although the incident damaged his public image, Milan still maintained strong support from his fans, especially those who believed in the effectiveness of his training methods. This incident also highlighted the polarization within the community. The third case, considered the most infamous, forced Milan to face a trial US. Authorities launched an investigation into animal abuse allegations against the famous dog trainer Cesar Milan after a controversial clip from his TV show Cesar 911 aired. Specifically, investigators from the Los Angeles County Animal Control Unit visited Milan's Dog Psychology Center in Santa Clarita to investigate the matter. The investigation stemmed from an episode where Milan used a live pig during the training of a dog named Simon, which had a history of attacking pigs. In the episode, Simon bit the pig's ear, causing bleeding before being stopped. This footage quickly sparked outrage from animal rights organizations and the public, leading to calls for an investigation and an online petition demanding the cancellation of Milan's show. Laura Nativo, a professional dog trainer who initiated the petition, described the scene as unacceptable and argued that it was not an appropriate method to rehabilitate a dangerous animal like a pig. The television channel, Nat Geo Wild, which aired Milan's show, spoke out in defense of him, stating that Cesar Milan had dedicated his life to helping dogs and had created a safe, controlled environment at his center to rehabilitate aggressive dogs like Simon. They also mentioned that the pig that was bitten received immediate care and recovered quickly without any psychological harm. However, the investigation continued. Despite strong defenses from Milan's supporters and his network, the authorities continued to gather information and thoroughly reviewed the evidence. After some time, the authorities decided that there was enough evidence to charge Cesar Milan with animal cruelty. Following the urgent arrest order for Milan, police arrived at his home and continued to search, and what they discovered shocked the world. 3. The trial and the cruel life sentence. Los Angeles, California. The trial of Cesar Milan, famously known as the Dog Whisperer, has garnered significant attention as it began in courtroom number 7 with allegations of animal abuse. The case dates back almost a year when federal authorities launched an investigation into Milan's training facility following an anonymous complaint regarding his training methods. What initially started as a routine investigation gradually uncovered deeper secrets. Not only were there claims of abuse, but investigators also discovered even darker activities that no one had initially anticipated. Cesar Milan is accused of being involved in a complex scheme, including the illegal importation of exotic animals for demonstration training sessions, tax evasion through international businesses, and the exploitation of charitable funds meant for animal rescue operations. However, the most serious charge which could lead to a life sentence is that his training center inadvertently caused the deaths of several dogs due to severe injuries using training methods that prosecutors deem inhumane and dangerous. Cesar Millan, once regarded as a model of love and understanding toward animals, is now questioned. Was he truly a fraud who exploited public trust to carry out criminal activities, or is this merely a misunderstanding driven by an excessive investigation and an unfair trial? This question continues to haunt millions of his fans worldwide. The fall of the dog whisperer is not only a personal tragedy, but also a wake-up call about the hidden sides of fame. Will the truth ever come to light? And will justice truly be served in this highly questionable case? The trial began with the prosecutor's presentation, who brought forth a series of accusations focusing on Milan's past actions and concerns over his dominant training methods. The prosecutor argued that these techniques induced unnecessary fear and stress, and in many cases caused harm to the animals Milan claimed to be helping. Meanwhile, Milan's attorney firmly denied the allegations, asserting that Milan is a genuine animal lover who has devoted his life to assisting troubled dogs and their owners. Although his methods may be controversial, his ultimate goal was always to bring stability and happiness to the animals. Throughout the tense trial, Cesar Milan maintained his innocence, asserting that the tragic deaths of the dogs at his center were the result of their pre-existing health conditions. These were creatures that had endured deep psychological trauma and had even been planned for euthanasia before being adopted into his center. These dogs were the final cases, the abandoned souls no one else was willing to care for, lives broken to the core. Things took a turn when witnesses began to testify. First was Emily Carter, the owner of a Rottweiler named Max. She tearfully recounted her experience of bringing Max to Milan's training center in 2018. "I felt desperate," she said. Her voice choked with emotion. "Max was very aggressive toward other dogs and I didn't know what to do. I trusted Cesar to help me. But what I witnessed there was horrifying. I saw him use force pin Max down and shout in his face. Max was terrified, shaking uncontrollably. After that session, Max became even more withdrawn and aggressive." Carter's testimony painted a troubling picture of Milan's training methods, strengthening the prosecutor's accusations. However, this picture changed completely when Robert Jones, the owner of a golden retriever named Buddy, took the stand. Jones praised Cesar Milan as a savior. "Buddy is a wonderful dog, but he's terrified of thunderstorms," Jones explained. "I tried everything, but nothing worked. Finally, I turned to Cesar. He worked with Buddy patiently and gently. He never used force or frightened Buddy. After just a few sessions, Buddy became much calmer. I truly believe Cesar saved Buddy and my family." Jones's testimony provided an alternative perspective showing the dedication and effectiveness of Milan's methods. In some cases, the trial continued with conflicting testimonies from other witnesses. A former employee at Milan's center recalled incidents where she believed Milan put animals in dangerous situations to create dramatic moments for his television show. In contrast, Linda Davis, another dog owner, shared her story of how Milan helped her abandoned dog overcome serious behavioral issues and become a loving companion. One of the most emotional moments of the trial came from Gloria Sanchez, a 62-year-old kindergarten teacher and mother of 3. She testified that Milan had saved her son's life. Her testimony brought tears to many in the courtroom, including Cesar Milan himself. "My son David was attacked by a neighbor's dog when he was only 4 years old." Sanchez shared her voice, choking. The psychological trauma left him with a severe fear of all dogs. He couldn't go to the park, visit friends with pets, or even walk to school if there was a dog on the street. Traditional psychological therapies had no effect, and the family was nearly desperate. "We watched Cesar's show one night, and the way he gently interacted with fearful dogs caught David's attention." Sanchez said, "For the first time, he became interested in understanding dogs instead of just fearing them. We contacted Cesar's center, not expecting to meet him. Surprisingly, Milan personally responded and invited them to his farm. He spent an entire weekend working with David, teaching him how to understand dog behavior. Cesar told my son, "Fear is not respect, and respect is not fear. Once you understand the difference, you will never be afraid again." Sanchez recalled, tears falling. He didn't charge us a dime. When we tried to pay him, he said that seeing David overcome his fear was payment enough. Today, David Sanchez is a veterinary technician and a volunteer for animal therapy programs helping children overcome PTSD. As the jury was confused by the disorganized testimonies, the atmosphere in the courtroom remained tense. The attention immediately shifted when Prosecutor Harper called 2 witnesses to accuse Millan. The first was Jessica Patel, a volunteer at an animal rescue organization who had witnessed Millan working with a Labrador dog named Bella in 2018. Patel shared with a trembling voice, "I saw him yank Bella's collar so hard that the dog cried out in pain just because it wouldn't sit still. That's not training, that's abuse." The second witness, veterinarian Robert Klein, spoke out angrily. "I examined a dog after being trained by Milan. It had torn ligaments in its neck and showed signs of severe fear. His methods are dangerous for animals." Both witnesses firmly stated that Milan's actions not only caused harm, but also went against professional ethics. The trial became even more tense as the jury was shown video clips from Milan's show, including one where he pulled a husky so forcefully that it collapsed, and another showing him holding a dog down while it growled in panic. Prosecutor Harper argued that these actions were not exceptions, but a systematic pattern of abuse, and asked the jury to consider a prison sentence and a ban on Millan continuing to work with animals. However, lawyer Carter countered that the videos had been edited to mislead, and that Millan only used force when necessary to prevent danger from aggressive dogs. Could it be that Millan exploited the emotions of the viewers and dog owners to create an attention-grabbing image, despite his methods potentially harming animals? Throughout the trial, Millan sat quietly, occasionally lowering his head to take notes or looking confidently at the jury. When asked, he responded briefly, "I have never intended to harm any dog. Everything I do is to help them live better lives." This statement caused some audience members in the room to nod in agreement, but also sparked murmurs from those who opposed him. Some supporters outside the courthouse held signs reading, "Cesar is innocent," while animal rights activists gathered with banners saying, "Stop dog abuse," creating a stark contrast in the atmosphere. Although the jury reached a severe verdict of life imprisonment, Milan's legal team remained cautious but hopeful about the possibility of an appeal. They pointed out several procedural issues during the trial that they believed would provide a solid foundation to challenge the verdict and its severity. A life sentence for charges not related to violent training methods is unprecedented and completely unfair, declared lead attorney Rebecca Martinez. "We firmly believe in Mr. Millan's innocence, especially with the most serious charges, and trust that the appeals court will recognize significant legal issues with how this case was prosecuted." In a letter shared by his family, Millan expressed deep gratitude to his supporters and vowed to continue his mission, even from behind bars. "My body may be imprisoned, but my spirit will continue to contribute to bringing balance and harmony between humans and dogs," he wrote. "Every day, I receive hundreds of letters about lives changed and dogs saved through the principles I've been fortunate to share. Please continue sharing these stories to help me continue the mission of rehabilitation and second chances. Our work is not just about training dogs, but also about expanding our hearts, minds, and homes to animals in need. Whether I am here or not, this work must continue." Millions of lives have been changed thanks to Cesar Milan's compassionate training methods. The true work will not stop, and relentless efforts will continue to seek justice for the man who taught us how to be patient and decisive, even in the toughest moments. If you have ever been impacted by Cesar Milan's work, now is the time to speak up and take action. As one fan wrote simply yet wisely, "Cesar is and always will be the dog whisperer. No lawyer or anyone else can take that away. Cesar, stay strong. The world is with you." Perhaps the greatest lesson from Cesar's story is that true strength doesn't lie in never falling, but in getting back up after every fall and helping others rise with us, as he continues his work with animals and people. The trial of Cesar Milan is not yet over, but it is clearly an unyielding battle between two opposing views. One side sees him as a hero who saves dogs, while the other views him as an abuser under the guise of training. What do you think of Milan? Is he a defender of dogs, or someone who harms them? Please share your thoughts in the comments. As Cesar Milan's legal team continues their appeal journey, the whole world is waiting for the final verdict. Will Cesar Milan be exonerated, or will the reputation of the dog whisperer be forever tainted by these allegations? We will continue to update the latest news from the courtroom. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to stay updated on all the latest news.